Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the research talk at IOS. Our esteemed speaker, Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Abu Bakar Abdul Majid, the Director of Institute of Science, Professor Technologist Dr. Muhammad Rusuk Mahmud, the Deputy Director of Institute of Science, Associate Professor Dr. Zuraida Kusaimi. Ladies and gentlemen, today's seminar is the ninth of the series of seminar that will take place throughout this year. Please ensure you stay informed about the upcoming events. The purpose of this seminar is to facilitate knowledge sharing and foster research networking among UiTM researchers. The central theme of today's seminar is gut feeling, intuition or science. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to read the short biography of our speaker today. Yang berbahagia Datuk Abu Bakar Abdul Majid holds a Bachelor of Pharmacy degree from Al Zaghazi University, Egypt, a PhD in Neurophysiology of Sheffield University, United Kingdom. From 1992 to 1993, Yang berbahagia Datuk served as a visiting scientist at the Laboratory for Neural Information Processing, Brain Research Institute, Ruang, Japan. In 2002, he assumed the position of between 2009 and 2014, he held the role of Assistant Vice Chancellor for Research and later Assistant Vice Chancellor for the Medical and Dental Campus. In 2017, Yang berbahagia Datuk was appointed as Director of UiTM Selangor. Furthermore, he held the position of Director at the Research Management Center, UiTM, from 2021 to 2022. Since August 2022, he has been serving as the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy at UiTM. Additionally, he is a member of the Board of Governors at the International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur, Board of Pharmacy, Malaysia. He served as an executive council member at the board during the years 1996 to 1999 and 2016 to 2022. He is also one of the founding members at the National Bioethics Council under the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation Malaysia and served as its chairman from 2016 to 2018. As a prolific author in the field of science and technology, Yang berbahagia Datuk has authored and edited over 20 academic books and published more than 100 research articles in reputable journals. His research interests encompass Alzheimer's disease, drug delivery to the brain, and bioethics. In recognition of the scientific merit and substantial impact of his work on patient, decision makers and government, Yang berbahagia Datuk was honoured with the 2023 Helen Clark JOPPP Award for Pharmaceutical Policy and Practice Research. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us welcome our moderator, Professor Rusuk, and Associate Professor Dr. Zuraida, and our esteemed speaker, Yang berbahagia Datuk Dr. Abu Bakar. The floor is yours. Please.
Alhamdulillah. Dear respected participants, administrators, lecturers and researchers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi, salam sejahtera dan salam Malaysia Madani to all of you. First of all, I would like to express great pleasure in welcoming all participants to this forum series of research talk at IOS entitled Gut Feeling, Intuition or Science. This forum series is organized by Institute of Science, IOS, University Technology Mara, and co-organized by Perpustakaan Tun Abdul Razak, UiTM. I also want to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate to all of our committee members of this forum series. I am Rusuk, the Director of Institute of Science, UiTM, together with Associate Professor Dr. Zuraida Kusaimi, the Deputy Director of Institute of Science, UiTM, will act as a moderator to moderate this forum series today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are fortunate and honored to have this opportunity to welcome Professor Datuk Dr. Abu Bakar Abdul Majid, the Dean of Faculty of Pharmacy, University Technology Mara, to be our panel for this forum series. Datuk, you are most welcome and to this forum series, Datuk. And then iOS also really feeling very, very happy to be able to be with Datuk to have forum today. And then Datuk, ladies and dear respected ladies and gentlemen, actually the aim of this forum series has been introduced by our MC just now. We have several objectives actually, at least three we want to tackle today. One is to optimize, okay, to increase and optimize the research performance with this hopefully, hopefully today we hope that we are able to tackle this, to increase, not only to increase but to optimize the research performance. In Malay call it as untuk memperkasakan penyelidikan dengan cara mengoptimumkan prestasi penyelidikan. The second objective is to elevate the research awareness, not only to increase and to optimize the performance, but at the same time we need to elevate the research awareness. Without awareness, bipang tak mana tu in order for the research sustainability, the awareness is very important. And then the third one, to cultivate the research engagement. Hopefully with this, our participants from outside also will get to know institute science and search online and so on to get our researchers contact and to start to do collaboration with us, inshallah. So dear respected ladies and gentlemen, in addition to that, the objective of this forum is to provide a platform of discussion for scientists, researchers and postgraduate students of common interest who are working in various sub-disciplines of science, technology and engineering to have the opportunity to discuss their research methods through the Q&A session. So we hope that our participants will ask us a question also, so that we will have a discussion, and we hope that we can discuss, and I will try my best to moderate how the gut feeling, intuition or science we could relate with the teaching, learning and research, Datuk. So today with me, Datuk, our co-moderator, Associate Professor Zuraida will moderate you, Datuk. So anything else from you, Dr. Zuraida?
I'd just like to say that we are thrilled to have you. So thank you very much for coming, for joining us. You are such with a very known background. You are a renowned researcher, and your academic qualification and your accomplished administrator. So IOS is very, very lucky for you to have you today. So we like to invite Datuk to start presenting or sharing with us your, I'm assuming this is your latest research.
Yes. And then Datuk can proceed, and then can have a stop so that we can have a discussion. And then at the same time, if we have a question from online also, inshallah we will come with question from online. So without further ado, please proceed for your presentation.
Thank you.
To share to us, with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Bagai Prof. Kusop, Director of IOS, Dr. Professor Dr. Zuraida, Deputy Director also as co-moderator for today's session. To all members of the IOS staff committee, organizing committee of this event, also to PTAR as co-organizer. Thank you very much for having me with you all this morning to discuss research areas or research aspects that, like rightly mentioned by Dr. Zuraida, this is something that we are doing currently after having done, of course, many other previous work. So today, I'd like to discuss something called gut feeling. Gut feeling. Is it intuition, or is there science behind gut feeling? So basically, gut feeling is something that we all know about, especially when we feel something is, whether we are anxious or whether we are worried or concerned about something, then we have something like in the stomach, a feeling of discomfort in the stomach, maybe up to extent of feeling of pain. So this is the first probably response to a challenge or a problem. So our stomach probably is the first organ, you see, to respond to this type of stimuli coming to us. So that's why sometimes we, based on that, we would respond or make a decision. So that's why the decision which is based on our first response is referred to as gut feeling. Although this phrase, gut feeling, has been around for hundreds of years, it was said that the term originated in the 19th century. So it so happened that, and it's quite normal for things to be introduced first, and then later will come the description or the explanation or the theory behind it, how it happens. So same with gut feeling. Previously, it was thought to be something which you do, not really basing on your thinking or your conscious mind, but mostly something that you do almost automatically as a response. But now with science, we know that we are beginning to understand that even though it happens in our, looks like it's coming from the gut, but actually the brain is also involved in the decision. So overall, whatever response that you take, even though you say it's your gut feeling, it would have involved processing in the brain as per normal decision that we do. So this is the rationale. Previously, gut feeling is referred to almost like something which is based on intuition, but now we believe there is also science behind it. Professor,
Is there any particular difference between gut feeling and intuition?
I would say it's a matter of naming, but the concept is the same. If we want to define intuition, for example, so we could define it from Britannica, a natural ability or power that makes it possible to know something without any proof or evidence. That's what we think. We are responding to something just immediately or automatically without having to refer to the brain. That's the thinking or evidence. So a feeling that guides a person to act in a certain way without fully understanding why. That's the intuition, what we call intuition. Or intuition, because sometimes people ask you something, you don't have facts. You say, well, my gut feeling tells me that it's the wrong way to do or it's the right thing to do. So that's intuition.
Is it okay to interrupt?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I think it's better.
What I'm thinking though, as also written there, that has cited from the dictionary, looking at the dictionary, I feel that something like a proverb, just like in our language also, the gerak hati.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, it's not from the stomach, but from the the brain. How about that? What do you think about that? Just a name only, call that from the stomach, but actually from stomach or from the hati ataupun jantung ke, kan? Tapi but actually it's processed, by the brain.
Yeah, I think we can be quite divisive here in terms of scientists, or when we talk about, is there anything actually coming from your heart feeling, for example, or gut feeling? But I mean, I'm like trained in brain science, so brain is to me the ultimate organ that actually does all this thinking. It's very unlikely that any sort of thinking happens in the heart. or in the gut.
Ya betul.
So,
Aku katakan
at
itu.
the end, yeah.
Kalau nak relatekan, katakan dalam Islam,
Hmm.
mana makanan tu punca segala-galanya, makanan minuman. So maybe that's also shows that everything start from the stomach.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yes. Islam, and also we hear this kind of statement: "You are what you eat."
Yeah.
So what you eat determines the way you think. And of course, technically there is a reason for that. What you eat decides what you or how you think or how your mood is going to be. There is a reason, and then we're probably going to look into this briefly. So, just definition of science, just to complete the description of the title today.
Yeah.
Science is knowledge or study of natural world based on facts. Because basically, we all know to decide on something scientific, so we look for evidence through experiments or observations. This is common. So, trying to relate from the topic that gut feeling may be intuition or it may be science. So, we will see. But when we talk about the human body or the human as an organism, we would think that we are full of cells and tissues, but we forget that within us there is also another group of cells and genes also, and they are actually the microbes or the microorganisms living in our body, and they live in many places in our body, also outside our body, but in the inside, mostly in the gastrointestinal tract, or especially in the stomach and the intestine. We call it the gut, or basically the area which is between our chest and the pelvis. So it has been said that the number of cells in the human body is about 30 trillion cells in the human body. And the number of microbes in our body is about the same. But we do not realize that actually we are only half human and half microbes, basically.
We are walking microbes.
We are walking microbes. And the other thing which is also fascinating is human, we have probably genes between, lots of arguments between 20,000 to 40,000. Some say it's 35,000 genes. But microbes taken together in our body, the number of genes exceed 1 million. So again, when we try to compete with microbes in our body in terms of genetic, composition, we lose. There are more genes from the microbes. So actually, these microbes, they play a big part in our life, basically, without us realizing sometimes. So that's why the interest in the study of microbe in the human body and the whole microbe composition is referred to as microbiota. The study has been quite intense, especially in the last 20 decades or so. And
If you might ask, what's the main function of microbes in our body?
Okay.
Physiologically.
We all know, we talk about symbiosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
These microbes are good microbes. When they are inside our body, 99.9% of them are good microbes. The aim is for them to provide something to the body, and the body provides something to them. And these microbes sometimes referred to as symbionts because they live in symbiosis with us. So they don't cause any problem except for when there's what we call dysbiosis. The symbiosis disturbed to become dysbiosis, then the body starts to have problems, for example, disorders, diseases, and so on. This one example from the slide of, we're beginning to understand that what's in your stomach, what's in your gut, actually determines also who you are. For example, this is a very simple experiment. This is from what we call twins, identical twins. When for example, they are discordant. Discordant in the sense that they are not similar in life, although they are identical. So we have the twin who is slimmer compared to the twin who is probably obese. So when you take the gut microbiota from the twin who is the slimmer twin, and you transplant into uh, mice, for example, this mice is considered to be germ-free mice, meaning they are free of any particular pathogens or disease. Yeah? And then you take the microbiota from, the obese twin, and you transplant into the, the normal rat. And then you see that this rat, from getting the microbiota from the obese twin, will grow into obesity, will become obese.
Even though
Whereas
they eat the same amount of food or the same calorie.
yeah, despite the same.
Despite, yeah.
That's, if you look at the slimmer twin, then the microbiota from the twin provides, benefit to the mouse.
You can do that to humans probably.
Now it's been done, something called fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT, is already being practiced
I see.
in some places, and also some clinical trials are on to see whether some of these FMT can improve certain diseases. So it's quite remarkable to think about, this possibility. But when you say fecal, don't imagine it as, as we imagine feces as it is. But when our fecal is already being refined, and transplanted into someone else. So that's the FMT, or fecal microbiota transplantation. So this was done about a decade ago, and so that's why they say when you change the composition of your gut microbiota, it will affect the mood or the condition of your brain. So that's why mood changes can be, can be explained when changes in the gut happen, changes in the microbiota of the gut happens. And you see, from the gut to the brain, there is actually connection. There are two ways to connect. From the gut, food that we take will be digested into very small molecules and then transported into blood vessels or capillaries, which are near to our intestinal wall. So that's a normal way of food transferred from the gut into the blood vessels. And then we get all the glucose, the active fatty acid all moving throughout our body. So I hope you all can still remember your biology or biochemistry and so on. So, but the other way to communicate, because once these substances have gone into the blood, it can be carried through to the heart, and then can be transported to the brain, for example. And some of these chemicals can pass through what we call the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain to do whatever they have to do. But there's also another connection between the gut and the brain, and this is through the nerves. Nerves, they actually innervate the gut throughout, especially the wall of the gut, to allow things like peristalsis, movement of the gut. And this is sometimes referred to as the enteric nervous system. So plenty of nerves going up to the brain, because this nerve sending actually messages from the brain to the gut, whether to move or not to move. So now what happens that materials from the gut can be transported actually in a reverse manner. Normally signals come from the brain to the gut through the nerve, and nerve is referred to as vagus nerve. So now the materials from the gut is being transported in a reverse manner to the brain, what we call retrograde transport the other way. Normally anterograde is the transport forward, this is backward, retrograde transport. So when these materials get into the brain, then it can do all sorts of things. Especially that's what happens when these chemicals transported from the gut, not bacteria, but chemicals or metabolites um, produced from the bacteria. These are transported. These are chemicals actually. Sometimes they are called chain fatty acids. They are transported to the brain, and then in the brain they do something. Certain materials they cause what we call inflammation. Some actually are good materials. They improve the condition of the brain, the functioning of the brain. So it depends. So this is how the gut and the brain talks to one another. So this particular relationship is referred to as the gut-brain axis.
Axis.
The gut and brain axis.
Dato, before that, Dato, that make me thinking something, Dato, when you Dato explain the relationship between gut, food, gut, and brain.
Brain.
So, for example, if intuition,
Mm.
maybe we can think that might due to the to the experience,
Mm.
previous experience, knowledge experience,
Yeah.
that might cause to the to the what? The way how you think about that.
Mm.
But if we think based on the science and due to the food that we take, I wonder that because of the food, finally it might produce different level of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm thinking.
Actually, your first part to spot on.
Yeah.
Very true. Intuition will be based on past experience,
Yeah, that's what I think.
and we know, of course, past experiences are all stored in the brain also somewhere.
Yes, yes.
The neuron in the brain,
Yeah.
especially what we call the memory area. So that's why when you want to make a decision based on intuition also, you have to, or you probably would have referred to some of the past experiences already stored in your brain. Because that helps you to make the decision based on what you probably have learned previously. Right? So
And then
that's true.
there, in order to get the the good experience, the good experience to to really understand on that matter. So maybe before that, we need a good food also. Food that's suitable to that.
Yeah, it's true. That I mean, it's
Yeah.
common sense.
Very
Right?
common sense.
When you think about this along this way of this discussion, it definitely means you take good food, you get good bacteria interaction with the gut microbacteria, and then you, of course, get all the benefits from the good food. And the benefit is through the gut-brain axis benefit. Because, again, this food, a lot, also now, lots of studies have shown that many, what we call neurodegenerative diseases, like, multiple sclerosis, um, dementia, like from Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So many of these have been linked to the condition of your gut microbiota. So definitely food determines the type of microbes you have in your gut, and this will determine the metabolites that they produce, and this will be transported to the brain, and this will impact the functioning of the brain, whether to make the brain make you feel better or otherwise.
There are even some people saying that your gut is your brain now.
Ah, that's why I mentioned the gut has this enteric nervous system. That's basically probably the third part of the nervous system. The nervous system, we have the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and the enteric nervous system probably the third brain of the human body.
Yes.
You're right.
So yang ni akan berkait rapat dengan the ability of us due to, for example, economical mental problem. Then what kind of food that we able to take.
You remember?
Rasa sedih tu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember some years ago, the late Professor Raja before this, he mentioned that the problem with some of the rural students from rural areas because of lack of food.
Yeah. That's actually what I want to say just now.
So I think that's the basis for that. Yeah, and in fact, there's no food also will cause changes in the bacterial profile in the gut, so that may impact, of course, on the brain development and also brain function. Yeah. So now that's why the interest of neuroscientists working with microbiology to try to understand that. So this, but I would like to say this is still new, relative new, in the sense that understanding of the whole spectrum of the microbiota in the gut and how they individually impact. But studies have also shown that sometimes it's not really because microbiota in the gut of different individuals, different ages, male, female, people living in different parts of the world, they all can be different. But what can be considered to be almost the same or similar, regardless of which microbes there are, how they impact on the pathway of, we have biochemical pathways that change this and that, especially inflammation or promote inflammation or negate inflammation. So this is considered to be quite generic, regardless of the types of microbiota. So at least that gives us the ability to control it. Otherwise, you have millions of types or strains of microbes, and how do you even consider the function of each one to tailor make towards your needs, for example, to have a better mood, to have a better brain health. So, but good thing is that the pathways that they're involved in are relatively similar, so easy for us to control them. So I mentioned earlier, FMT, or fecal microbiota transplantation or transfer between young and aged mice, reverses hallmarks of the aging. So if you transfer the gut microbiota from young mice, for example, into the old, you're able to a certain extent reverse the aging mice condition. So this is also another evidence.
Interesting. Reverse aging.
Yeah, but don't expect total.
No, we should think of that seriously.
Don't expect total reversal from being old to being young, but at least some of the, some of your
Probably some of the
features.
organs would perform better, yeah, eyesight.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Some aspects, especially I think the mind, improve the.
Itu tu yang saya fikir kat sini tu. Yalah, one day in the future maybe by considering the reverse engineering, maybe by design we can tune. How many doctors we want to have, how many engineers we want to have, and then supply the suitable, what we call the food chain, the related food and so on. That maybe in the future might happen if the science that Dato presenting now is sort of.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to get at. Meaning, if you want to produce, for example, engineers, just put them one place, give them the same food.
Give the soup.
The food that will make them engineers.
Make them
Well, it's almost like what we talk about eugenics or genetics changes to control the development and also the upbringing. Well, this is like I said, in the future, it may happen. You can package, certain food for your children to become doctors. Take this package, tailor-made for doctors. But at least,
hopefully become the reality in the future.
That can be what we call translational. But these are all fundamental, but we have to think about how to translate this into usefulness. So this is just a study of gut microbiota of different individuals of different ages. So the composition are at the top there, the different groups of microbes. The different like you have the Firmicutes, Bacteroidetes, Actinobacteria, Proteobacteria, and others. So these are the most common type of bacteria of family of bacteria found in the individuals, mostly. But if you look at the composition, they're all different at different ages. So, for example, some are considered to be advantageous, some disadvantageous to have but in the old age, normally you will see lesser of the good bacteria, too bad for that. So
I'm assuming the pink ones are the not so big ones.
yeah, the Firmicutes here, they are considered to be the good ones, yeah, and they are a bit reduced in old age. So aging is characterized by frail gut. When what happens that when you age, your gut begins to probably the gut, meaning especially the lining of your stomach, lining of your intestine, especially, they become less healthy, and they may lead to some leakages. And when these leakages happen, this can start the process of what we call dysbiosis or changes in the diversity of your microbiota. And this is also, again, can lead to, most importantly, is inflammation. Inflammation is actually the root to many diseases. And as far as possible, we want to reduce inflammation. We want to have more, for example, chemicals that can improve, that can avoid inflammation, and less chemicals that promote inflammation, what we call the interleukins or cytokines. So, but the thing here is that as you grow older, your composition of gut microbiota changes. And mostly, like Professor mentioned, is because you change your food habit, right? Type of food that you take as you grow to adolescent, then to adulthood, and then as you grow older, then your type of food that you take normally would change. So this is what happens when your intestinal barrier, we call it, or IEB, intestinal permeability, start to leak. Sometimes we call leakage of this.
That's the lining of our gut.
Yes, the lining starts to leak, and then the normal symbiosis that exists previously during health becomes disturbed, and then we start to see. So this um, leakage of the intestinal barrier happens as you age, and more as you age further, then you have more leakages, and you have more metabolites from the microbiota gets into the bloodstream, for example, gets into the brain and start to disturb your brain. And our study is interested in looking at what we call the uh, cognitive status of the brain. So when the brain starts to lose cognition, proper cognition, we call it like cognitive frailty. The cognition becomes, less normal, less strong. Because we have two frailty. One is physical frailty. As you grow old, of course, physical frailty also start to scratch,
You
something.
can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you become frail, less strength to walk about. But this is cognitive frailty. Your mind starts to be weakened, and this may not, may not be due to old age per se. The cognitive frailty can also happen even though you are in your, middle age. So our interest is to look at the cognitive frailty status and what's in the gut, the types of microbes are in the gut. So this is a research that we are doing with our partners, basically University of Malaya, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, University Pertanian Malaysia, um, UiTM, and also Monash University. So the idea is try to have a, you know, holistic approach to try to deal with the problem of aging, especially aging that leads to cognitive frailty. Because, well, a concept has been said that you can age uh, in a healthy manner. Aging should not be
Gracefully.
gracefully, yes, exactly. Aging should not be equated with disease. So that's our contention, and we work with our partners. Um, First, the UM group, they are sourcing subjects, getting patients, from the
Okay.
geriatric clinic and also elsewhere. We go to some pusat activity water mark or pathway to collect subjects. And then we receive the blood samples, and now we're also collecting stool samples.
Oh.
Blood and stool. Because stool is an indication of the composition of the blood microbiota. Very straightforward. But don't worry, we have good, nice processes to do this. Don't feel, this is a bad thing to do. But our students, they are quite well trained and they can do this stool collection and blood collection quite efficiently. And this is, this is the way forward new science. And then we do a lot of analysis of the composition of the blood and also the stool. We do microbial analysis and also we do some genomics work or metabolomics work especially.
How far has this work progressed?
Okay,
Is it at which stage is it?
yeah, the third stage is for UKM to come in with what we call intervention. The multimodal intervention is the role of the researchers from UKM, led by Professor Susanna. And their idea is, she's a nutritionist, the idea is to develop certain packages of food, like you mentioned. Especially we're focusing on our naturally available vegetables, especially the ulam, and also plus physical exercises. So multi-domain, so different aspect of. But they have patients or subjects who come in and being treated and be given this administration of this intervention, and then they come back after 6 months, after a year to see whether they have improved or not.
So before and after.
Yes, one of the solutions. So this is ongoing, and we see some good positive results. And then the UPM team, they are looking at mostly the social aspect of aging, and the Monash, they are looking at transportation assist, how to assist old people to move about, technology, using apps, using transportation system and so on. So our 5 teams are working uh, in consonance to try to provide better solution to our aging population. Malaysia is, it's a country with the number of aged people increasing year after year. Um, I'm already in the Razak Umas group. You all are going to be there in the
Going to be.
Going to be.
so we better have good preparation for us to age gracefully, like you mentioned. In fact, this is our second LRGS grant, and the ageless we call it. This was in continuation from our previous one, nicely termed TUA, which is towards useful aging.
Okay. Well.
So, and then we are doing also some animal study in our lab to look at the benefit of probiotics. Probiotics can be considered to be probably the, good food that we can take to prepare our gut to have this very good microbes, so probiotics, the prebiotics, and so on. So this is strength of our research professor, Dr. Kalabati. So he's doing that in the animal study, and we hope to, of course, move into clinical studies involving human. So this is just definition of frailty that we have to follow. How do we define our subject as being frail cognitively? So we have certain scale that we use. We call it the Fried criteria, for example. We see. So when we go, especially visiting this pathway, we get subjects who come in, we invite them, and then we do tests like this to see where they are in terms of walking ability, holding, hand grip, and so on. So this is just to test the physical frailty, and also followed by some tests to see their cognitive ability.
Is there any problem like getting subjects, like age individuals to get involved? This is mainly in Klang Valley?
Yes, I think the group has done quite a lot of work in the Klang Valley, especially PJ Tamjaya area. we've got quite a good number of subjects. So we have thousands, and we keep a full database of these subjects. When we went out, I joined a group that went out to Pasir Mas some months ago. I think the turnout was quite good. Not surprising, but I guess people are keen to know and
Yes,
keen to
yes.
contribute as
Yeah.
subjects for research, so that there's benefit that can be obtained for many other people. So I think in terms of reception and in terms of participation, quite good. But of course, we have limited the problem is the limited funding, meaning that you cannot do tests on so many subjects that you have. You have to, to select and to
Some
limit.
selected individuals.
Because every test will cost money, and budget is always
Yeah.
limited in terms of research. So these are just findings from our study with regard to normal subject, as in robust. Before that, let me just show you the data demographic of our subjects. For example, in terms of age, subjects are quite well balanced between about the average age of 70. So we have, from this study, we're presenting 137 subjects. Robust means they are fine, healthy. Pre-frail, PF, we have 60. This is not really already in the frail category. They're just about to become frail. And the real frail ones are only 7, so not many. So we are able to compare between robust and pre-frail, basically frail to study. So we get some of the health parameters like blood pressure, glucose level, and so on. So sometimes when we do go out, we give also this kind of service to them. We do like health screening for them. So this will attract more participants to come out. We also do psychological assessments. This is where we can at least assess the cognitive frailty level. And then physical assessment, the hand grip, the gait, how fast they can walk within certain distance and so on. So all these are taken up, and then we did statistical analysis.
Do you control their diet?
This one just you just do screening, and we get the data. This has not been exposed to the intervention diet. So the subjects that are being intervened are those who are going to the clinics in UiTM in Kuala Lumpur. So these are some of the findings from our initial study. Um, the, the types of microbiota that we found in our robust versus frail subjects. So the top, the robust, and lower, the frail. And looking at the different phyla of bacteria, about similar, but we already can determine some of the differences, especially with regard to older adults who normally have this publicitis and also bacteroides, mostly in the elderly. I would say that another discover our discovery or findings is that the Alistat genus, we have, for example, in robust, um, less of this increase in Alistats in frailty. So probably Alistats are known to be pathogenic, or they produce diseases, and so this can be potentially responsible for breaking up the lining, the functioning of our gut barrier, and leading to inflammation. So with this type of study, we begin to understand the role of the different types of microbes in the gut microbiota. And again, the solution will be to try to minimize the bad ones and maximize the good ones. Yeah.
Probably us, like common people, will need to know these at least types might come from what type of food or.
Yes, I think, yeah. That's why, for example, I mean, it's quite clear um, evidence will be used. Prebiotic, for example, you know, this probiotic will encourage the development or growth of good bacteria. So it's almost like selective
Yeah, the
feeding.
formulation of the prebiotics would then may
yes.
want to reduce this type of microbiome.
Yeah, yeah. I think they are doing studies now. To I think clinical study has been started to confirm this that certain prebiotics will be useful to avoid from the bad uh, bacteria developing in your gut. So this is just another way to look at the situation between age, and also we look at BMI and different types of bacteria phyla available in the gut. So
Can you explain this diagram? What does it mean?
you see for example, under age, yeah, um, the significant, for example, proteobacteria, uh, you see, seems to be strongly related to aging. So you have more proteobacteria as you age, which is quite clear. Whereas this is based on the correlation, experiment correlation. Um, in terms of BMI, the for example, the experiment correlation is related to variable microbiota, mostly affecting your BMI. BMI, as we know, the index for the state of your body, whether you are normal, lean, or obese, or pre-obese, and so on. So with this, we relate the different types of the bacteria with age and also with your BMI.
So that blue color, the proteobacteria is in a way the faster you age, if you have that bacteria, can I assume that?
The what?
The faster you age or
Yeah.
the frail we if you
That's
have such bacteria.
There's a positive correlation here, strong between proteobacteria and aging, for example. Um, and negative correlation between actinobacteriota with aging, for example. Okay.
Okay.
So the proteobacteria phylum is just a big phylum and contains these are the type of bacteria that associated with or pathogens associated with this phylum proteobacteria. Helicobacter, you know, is the one that is responsible for your, ulcer condition, ulcer in the stomach, for example. Shigella, Salmonella, these are all bacteria that
some are familiar like Salmonella.
Yes. So these are the pathogenic. They cause different types of diseases. So there is suggestion that maybe they can, proteobacteria present can be the signature of these viruses or disturbances in the gut microbiota. Next, what we're saying, this is the communicators. Communicators are considered to be good bacteria because they produce the short chain fatty acid, the SCFA. And this short chain fatty acid seems to be beneficial to the brain when it goes into the brain. Promotes, for example, transmission, neurotransmission, and makes the brain healthier basically. And because there is less communicatives in the older adults, so this also lead to these viruses because the SCFA produced is reduced. You know? This viruses is just any condition that changes from normal microbiota composition to uh, in equilibrium of the good and the bad microbiota. So you have these viruses. You have symbiosis, you have these viruses. So this is one example of bacteria that we need actually more in the older adults. So I mean the translational aspect of it will be probably for the older adults we need to increase the supply of food that can promote communities.
So, sorry, this is actually not my area. My area is on the opto influence because education electronics.
Yes.
But I try to understand related to the topic in the fertility. So when you talk about there are many types of bacteria or something like that. So are you talking about by controlling the type of bacteria, it might affect to the nutrition, it might affect to the what we call the thinking, brain quality and so on. So the need to adjust what type of the bacteria that should contribute during the digestion or during that mix with the food that we take. Is it something like that we should think about?
Yes, I think, like I mentioned, when it comes to translating our findings into practice, that would probably be an approach that we can take, identifying the good bacteria that we can include in our diet, so that you know this situation can be set up in the gut.
Such as a supplement like that.
Yes, we can. Yeah, for example, we mentioned about the probiotics, for example. Yeah, this a form of supplement that you can take, and the idea is to substitute the so-called bad bacteria.
Yeah, back to the better one, or for that purpose we should take it more and
Yes,
more. Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Betul, in terms of food, bacteria will mostly appear in fermented food. So does it mean that the older you get, you should eat more fermented sources of food?
Um,
Is that a relation?
yes, I think some of the food available that can provide you with microorganisms, for example, involve fermented or fermentation. Yeah, um, if uh, if you can identify that this product contains the good bacteria that you need, then
Yeah.
that may help you. That can be part of the solution. And right now we already know the pathogenic bacteria which we are trying to stay away from. So we also now know about the good bacteria that we can be friendly with.
Like this, yeah, the ubiquitous.
So this is we are looking at again the different phyla of the bacteria, and now we are looking at the um, physical assessment, what they can do in terms of previously was BMI, now we're looking at the correlation between the probacteria, bacteria, for example, when you have lots of them, it's difficult for the patient or subjects to do functional reach, for example, to reach out a bit without falling. But when you have communities a lot, it's positive. It helps the subject. Okay? So, good. This is negative correlation. It's not good. So, sometimes it can be quite specific. Bacteria affect this hand grip, but it does not affect, or it's good for time up and go, meaning from sitting down to standing up and moving forward. So it's quite kind of specific
Yeah,
to a
very
certain
specific,
extent,
yes, yes.
which we have to address. So just focus on that one. We have time a bit more.
Yes, yes, we do.
Yeah, so these are the findings here. I just want to maybe want me to conclude, or
We still have plenty of time.
And then after that we
I think there's just a few more
we
slides.
have rest a while and then we
Ah.
can continue.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That want to conclude now or after the
Uh,
we can just
let's discuss a bit more before then I will continue to conclusion.
A conclusion.
Yeah. Can I just ask
And
one
your
question?
question,
How do cultural and individual differences influence the way people experience, or like back to the title, trust their gut feelings?
cultural differences,
Yeah.
how do they respond to
Yeah. Cultural and
situation?
individual differences.
Yeah. Um, Again, gut feeling is the first response
Mm-hmm.
and thought to be independent of the brain processing. But now we know it's not. It still involves brain processing. Um, and again now it, it it involves in the sense that there is a link between your gut and your brain. In terms of individual differences, um, also mentioned about experiences, past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing when they refer to the brain, whatever is taught previously from past experience will be considered
Mm-hmm.
for you to make decision on the new challenge or the new stimulus. No? Culturally, of course, when you live in a society, things you do will be related to the society's expectation, society's norm,
Mm-hmm.
and different society would react to sometimes the same situation differently.
Yeah.
That's the cultural. But again, if we take one step back and see about culture, different cultures have different types of food that they prefer.
Mm.
So again, that may impact
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
microbiota in the
And
gut.
their intuition and
Uh,
so on.
that will impact the brain, and that will impact how they, form their intuition or how intuition happens in them. So these are all related, but differences exist. Again, I mentioned gut microbiota. They have also lots of variations in different people,
Mm-hmm.
even though within the same family, I would think.
Oh.
But the pathway that they impact, the biochemical pathway that they impact the individual, uh, normally they are quite similar.
So when we talk about microbacteria and so on, so I feel that as well. Yeah, of course, the food, like the cultural, as Dato said just now, and then the exercise also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the way how we take type of food, how do we take a food, how we do exercise, and so on. That might also affect to the living thing,
Yes.
such as microbacteria and so on. So that finally affect the
Yeah.
our brain and so on.
So when we look at the multimodal intervention conducted by UiTM, they do different types of intervention. So one is based on diet, the other one based on physical exercise. So the physical exercise may impact our body in a different way, especially with regard to the release of hormones and stuff, and that also impact the brain. Yeah. So
The tissues also our body, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
start with the cellular level, then go to tissue level and the organ level.
So, anything else?
I have another question. Yeah. How do gut feelings and intuition relate to the concept of emotional intelligence? And can they be cultivated or improved?
Cultivated.
Uh-huh.
I see. If we accept the fact that your your gut relates to your brain, brain formation, brain thinking, brain processing. So because the gut content depends on what you take. So we can say that it will have an impact on your emotional state of being, and if you is a believer in emotional intelligence, then it would impact your emotional intelligence. Well, emotional intelligence basically is something that is developed also through your upbringing a lot. Based on your upbringing, again, past experience, and I would think we relate to um, your food habit, food habit. So because of that connectivity between what is in your stomach and what uh, transpires in your brain.
Because I was thinking that probably you may be able to expand this research for example, individual like autism, with autism spectrum, because if they have they don't have certain what you call it social interaction that normal people have, or social intuition that normal people have. So probably if we can study the microbiome of that autism individual, is there the possibilities that we might improve, or maybe not sure, but probably improve the condition?
Yes, I mean exactly what you're saying is already happening in some labs, some parts of the world. They're already looking into, like I said, various neurodegenerative conditions or abnormal condition of the brain, and they're already testing. Maybe, I mean, it doesn't look like you need specific drug to treat the specific condition, but if you can, you know, understand and uh, modulate or change the eating habit, the food content, that can also be a help. And again, we need more evidence, but I think many groups, research groups, they are looking into possibility of linking as many brain, you know, developmental or brain diseases with the content of your gut. Like I said earlier, they're already doing a lot on Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, dementia. So autism also has been mentioned. Multiple sclerosis is definitely a very strong group in California, UCSF, I think they are doing it. So yes, this is the area, like I said, still new area, still developing. So we may find one of the potential solutions to help people with, for example, ASD to have a I would say, better life.
Probably improve, yeah, improve their lives. Yeah.
And then before that,
Yeah.
adakah can we think in such a way that the intelligent person has a strong intuition or what? Yeah, that
Is that relation to
in that-
intelligence?
Yeah,
Yeah.
intelligence.
Good intuition.
Intelligence. So if you are not having this strong intuition, you may not go active in that, uh, on that, and you may not be so intelligent.
Yeah,
Can we understand in such way?
there is possibility, but these two are probably acting at different parts of the brain. For example, intelligence is very much in the what we call the forebrain or frontal, in front part of the brain. Whereas I think gut feeling is more involving the emotional part of the brain, which is the hippocampus and the amygdala, other areas which are deeper inside the brain. But of course, in the brain, things are always interconnected. One area works together with another area. When this concept of brain working as a whole has been known for quite some time now. Previously was thought that they work separately. But now, so if you say intelligence may assist people in making your decision based
Yeah.
on gut feeling, it may be true. But we are not saying that intelligent people make better decisions. So that
Kalau
one may,
mungkin dia intelligent tapi agak slow.
Ah.
So intuition is
yes.
slow.
Intuition is something that happens,
Ah.
I would think, one is it happens quickly, but it happens with a very strong belief.
Believe.
That's why you make that decision. But definitely, people have debated whether intuition is the right way to make decision or not. Of course, it's always like 50. Sometimes you make the right decision, sometimes you make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But you need that gut feeling. But now I think we need not worry so much because even though we talk about gut feeling, it still involves processing in the brain. That's I think the message that we can take.
That brings me to the question, sixth sense. Is
Ah,
intuition
okay.
sixth sense?
If you look at definition of intuition, sixth sense has been mentioned as probably a form of intuition. It stands, and then something called forecasting, ramalan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we can have a break first.
Yeah, yeah.
So with that, thank you so much. Let's have a break first, and then let's continue after that. Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back.
Okay,
Welcome, Prof.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. Jadi kita apa ni akan sambung kita punya forum perbincangan berkaitan dengan gut feeling, nutrition or science. Jadi alhamdulillah jadi macam-macam lah. Dr. Greda.
Setakat ni saya nampak macam there's a lot of science behind
Ya,
it.
a lot of science behind that. So sekarang ni kita apa ni saya nak itulah cuba dapatkan pandangan Datuk, nak relatekan apa yang kita bincang tadi, try to relate what we have what Datuk has presented and what we have discussed just now with the teaching and learning and research. How there is how we can consider the intuition or science, or maybe I want to propose that not only intuition or science, but intuition and or science. Sometimes we should consider together. Because the title of our forum today is the gut feeling, intuition or science. Jadi science is something that happens because of there is a formula, because there's a mechanism why it happened like that. And then Dato' has presented just now that the intuition, also somehow happens due to the science behind that. Betul?
Yes.
So Dato', I feel that in research also, in teaching and learning and research also, Dato'. So when we talk about science, shit has behind that. In research also, when we want to do research, we want to get the idea to do our research, we should understand what we want to do. We should have the theory on that. Kan? We should have theory on that. Kita tak boleh just I hope that when I do this, I will get the idea, the idea. But before we start that, we should have already at certain level of the idea, or the theory, or the scientific reason why we want to do that. But that's only the intuition should come. Otherwise, somehow like no science behind that. Boleh pada apa yang saya maksudkan?
Yeah.
Sepatutnya ada reason kenapa kita proses. Boleh Datuk tolong bagi advice kepada kita punya researcher itu. Bila nak buat research, macam mana nak fokus research, macam mana nak, before we start research, for example, in teaching and learning is the same, because research should come from the teaching and learning. Boleh Datuk tolong bagi advice gitu to us, to our research, especially to our researchers at Institute of Science itu. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you talk about research, of course, we know research has, let's say, like three major areas or three major categories. Number one is exploratory.
Yeah.
So this is really something that you want to do. For that one, sometimes you mentioned you have to have a theory or something. But for exploratory, sometimes it may be that you totally have no idea what you're going into.
But Datuk, totally idea what we are going to do on that. But in order to that, there is the something that we should already understood on that. Otherwise, we cannot go towards that.
Yeah. Because definitely you need some kind of background,
Yeah.
some kind of. That's why we do literature review a lot.
Yeah.
Even in exploratory, when we find out nobody has done this before, then it comes to exploratory for us. And then you have the fundamental research, of course. Fundamental, again, based on other people's work, and then you want to do something beyond that, something new, something extra, something different, something unique, and then you do fundamental. But again, it always has, like you said, depends on previous work. Definitely, we cannot just, have no basis for our research endeavor or research adventure. And then the third one is, of course, applied or translational research that we talk about. And that one I think is quite clear in the sense that you already have some kind of objective or some kind of usage at the end of your research. And this is very much like prototyping or even commercialization. So as researchers, we have to think about which one you want to get into or which area you want to get into. Of course, One is based on our own interest of curiosity. Definitely that's the best research that we can do. But again, we have to tailor made towards the need of the sponsors or the funding agencies, what they want. So we always have to cater our proposal, our objectives towards meeting the needs of the funding agencies. Right? So that may limit a bit our scope for creativity, which is total unlimited. So we have to accept that. But I agree with Professor in the sense that intuition, again, intuition must be there. How to start the research, because you want to do something which is saleable to your funding agency, and you pitch, they accept. And that is the gist of the research, to do research based on your intuition, but added to it is creativity.
Yeah, intuitive.
Creativity means you do something which others will find it, wow, this is unique. Maybe it's not someone within your team at iOS or UiTM, but someone outside will get noticed if you move into something which is, unique, different, and first time. I think this is all about creativity that has become, I think, if you are creative, you'll survive better in this world. If you are me too, you just follower, you're going to be, your value is going to be much less. So as researcher, I would advise you all to, like Professor mentioned, it's common sense. We look around, we see what has been done, and we see what else needs to be done, what's new that is to be done. But of course, if you want to do something new, it has to be based on some doable methodology. Of course, it cannot be something that you cannot do. You don't have the equipment. You want to go to the bottom of the sea, 6 miles down, but you don't have the equipment. Definitely, you cannot dream to work along that area. So do whatever is, look at whatever is available here and do research within that, the facilities that we have. And that is very much, I think, doable. But most importantly, we have to be creative, because I think that's what differentiates us. I mean, so-called less advanced in research from those who are very advanced in research. You go to developed countries, we see their equipment, we see their papers all being accepted in journals, top journals. But we see that ours is sometimes you have to struggle and to compete with them. So the idea, because the thing is that they have some, or they have lots more creativity, I suppose, inside the project. When you look at projects being done elsewhere, why they are more renowned or successful, you can see that they put in some creative ideas, something different angle or different perspective, different approach. So we should avoid from doing the same thing here. What you have to do, you have to do something different. Think about that in your respective area. What is the difference that you can make in your area of research?
Betul. Yang Datuk explain like that, it make me remember back what I have experienced when I was in Japan before. So in Japan, for example, many institutions in Japan, universities, institution, academic institution in Japan, when the student wants to further their study, they will meet the potential supervisor and propose to the potential supervisor what they are going to do. So this is very important for our researchers, for our students, to understand that we should be creative on that. We should, you have, the based on theory that I have said, we were discussing just now, based on theory, what we really understood. So what is the creative idea that we have, in our stomach or in our brain, to propose to our potential supervisor, not to come to the supervisor and ask, do you have research grant? Do you have something that I can do? I can be your student like that, but to propose to the supervisor. So with that, maybe if we do in that way, mean that we already have a certain level of what we have to do, the idea that we want to proceed, we want to solve the issues of the research gap. We want to increase our knowledge. The reason, Could you also elaborate based on your experience on that, Dato'? For example, your experience with your previous student, Dato', how
Okay.
you deal or you enroll, your postgraduate student especially, Dato'.
Thank you, Professor and Dr. Zuraida. I have different types of students, both those who come to me with proposals, their own proposals, their own thoughts, which I think normally very unique. And to me, normally I would just go along with them with some minor tweaking. There are also those who come in and join our group doing what we already are doing. So I think sometimes you have to accept that also because you need their assistance to carry through the project. So it can be both ways, but I understand those who come in with their ideas, normally they can work independently normally. And that already solves many of your problems. When they are independent, you know that you can rely on them and you need to, from time to time, guide them. So yes, students come in various packages, but if you have ideas, um, you should go and seek out your potential supervisors. And the supervisors can, I think most of the time, the areas are about the same, your area, your interest, and supervisors' expertise. You always can come to a midline, a meeting place, together and then move towards your postgraduate studies.
Okay, when Dato' said together with supervisor, I remember another thing, Dato', huh?
Yes.
Yeah, we as a supervisor should be together with students.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
not just to allow students to, yeah, let's say that to move alone to certain level even. So should be always together. Like for example, we should have the weekly discussion to always meet with the student, meeting with the student, to have a discussion and then to tackle certain issues and then to what to determine to which level we already have proceed the research and so on.
Yeah.
So another thing, Dr. Zuraida, anything you want to add?
Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
question
please.
is
Yeah,
back
proceed,
on
please.
Datuk's title just now.
Hmm.
Can you share any insight on how gut feelings and intuition might be harnessed to enhance decision making in various professional contexts?
Decision making, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Macam can you
Yeah, that's a very,
decide
very,
based
very
on
quick question to
intuition
Dato'.
alone?
Tadi.
Is it intelligent enough to base on intuition alone?
No, I think, I mean, let's say taking it the hard way, and I mean, the most extreme uh, situation of gut feeling. People say when something comes to you, immediately respond, almost like you don't think about it. That's the worst time. There is a saying, don't let fire get to your head. Don't let fire get to your head. Because when you want to decide something, you have to decide in a very, not say relaxed, but comfortable manner. So your gut feeling to, again, we are doing gut feeling today, and I think agreement here is that it's science. Even though it's gut feeling, decision you make will be based on your past experience, definitely for sure. And your past experience too, you've done wrong, you've done right, and when you combine, you would think that this time I'm going to make it right, and I will base on my experience. But again, you're not sure. Definitely, all decisions you make, mostly you cannot be, 100% sure that they are the right decisions. But you have to make a call. So you call at that time, you make the decision. But again, I believe it's best to, anytime you have to make a decision, you take a step back sometimes, put things into perspective. Most decision that we make, we have time to think. We have the time to relate to the brain, request help from the brain, and the brain will give you um, facts, figures, evidences, uh, so that you can try and make the best decision.
So it's almost like you negotiate. You have that gut feeling, but probably then you step back and find the balance between.
Yeah. Of course, there are circumstances where you have to act very fast.
Mhm.
You have to make decision, yes or no, now. But like I said, now we know whatever you decide, you still have to, it still goes because this process that goes to the brain takes milliseconds. So it's not 1 second, it's not 10 seconds. So it's not about you have to, just stay like that for a few moments that people can see you, you can decide, because whatever that comes to you, that decision you have to make, even though we say that the stomach feels something, it's already sending messages to the brain in milliseconds, and brain within milliseconds will respond.
On that note, do you have any past experience based or as you're the head of many departments in UiTM that you use gut feeling to decide on something and that helped or that was crucial that gives you positive results or otherwise?
Um, if you're thinking about gut feeling, of course, like I said, when we have lots of experiences, many cases that we have gone through, there's still gaps now, because each situation or each problem that comes to you will not be the same 100% with the previous one. So whatever information you have from previous experience, there still be some gaps, missing links there. And that's where you think that you're using your gut feeling to fill up the gaps and make the decision. Um, well, if you want to still maintain that there's still intuition involved, maybe it's the intuition to fill up the gap. But again, to fill up the gap, you must have, macam scientists also mention, formula. You rely on formula a lot. You're all scientists. You still need something to justify why you want to fill up the gap, the intuition, based on what? Must be based on something. Right? It cannot be like, you don't toss a coin, definitely, head or tail. Right? So you still think with whatever minimum information that you have to fill up the gap, you still want to use this little information that you have.
So maybe that if I could add to that, that has presented about the cognitive effect just now. So maybe the decision should be based on the cognitive process. So I want to relate the cognitive process with the, as previously I mentioned about the science or the experience. Yeah, it's very important as well. Yeah, experience. That's why in management, they have one term they call it as the right person should be at the right position. That's another thing. Maybe that's also related to the gut feeling. Yeah? That how the gut feeling will could affect to the decision as well.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. Anything else?
Probably another thing, is there any ethical consideration?
Banyak soalan tu, Dr. Zubir.
Saya dah ada soalan ke-9 ni.
Dipersilakan.
Ada 10 soalan. Ethical consideration in utilizing intuition, especially in areas of medicine and law.
Wow.
Is it ethical?
No, ethics is also not a very straightforward situation, black and white. You know. I think also requires lots of, I wouldn't say ambiguity, but unsure. Because sometimes the difference between right and wrong is very small, and different people has different level of ethical principles. Some have very high ethical principles, some lesser. They can accept certain things, you know. So when it comes to ethics, to use your intuition, to me, there's no issue, because, like I said again, intuition is already involving also the process of thinking in the brain.
And past experiences.
Yes. So, but if you're asked to, how do you decide on this ethical issue? I hope you don't say it's my intuition, it's my gut feeling.
You shouldn't say that, no.
You say that this is based on ethics. Also, they have principles and theories of ethics. So I base it on certain theories of ethics. For example, theories say that if you do good, that brings the most amount of good to the most number of people, then that action is considered to be ethical. Although to the minority who do not get the benefit, they will think that it's not fair. But the majority who get the benefit, they will say it's okay. So there is an ethical theory called utility theory, utilitarianism, which says that if you bring good things to the most number of people, then your action is considered to be ethical. Most bring benefit to most people and bring harm to the least amount of people. So ethical, like I say again, please don't just use intuition. Even ethically say now you can do a type of systematic thinking about it. And based on theories and principles, then you can decide on, I don't say all ethical issues, but many ethical issues now.
So maybe in other words, if I could add to that, maybe the intuition, yes, and even the science also should be based on the to what level we we could consider in the decision, right? Maybe something like that level. So for in this case, what is the guideline?
For greater
So in
good,
this
in a
case,
way.
yeah.
We use it for greater good. Yeah.
Important.
Yeah. So one final question from me is, can you share the exciting developments in your research? Where is it heading, and like how far do you think this, how soon we can get answers?
I'm going to show you just
Okay.
probably remove quickly few slides so that this can be an answer. This is the result from, I mentioned the multi-domain trial from UKM on subjects. Now, it seems that they have control group 165, and then the group that they intervene by giving their food and exercise program 165. So they look at the benefit, and you can see, for example, if you look at the graph, the dark color is for this robust group at baseline. Robust group means the healthy group, and then the robust group after 6 months. So this is non-intervention. They just in terms of the bad bacteria seems to be going down, bacteria goes down. But for the intervention group, when you give the intervention after 6 months, you can see that now the frail also now having less of the bad bacteria now. So that's improved. And then the firmicutes on the right side, which is believed to be the good bacteria, they seem after intervention, 6 months. IVO is at the time intervention measurement, and IV6 intervention after 6 months seems to have increased. So these are some of the findings that give us. This is further another group of Glaucia seems to also improve. This is also another group. There's a paper. If you look at the paper from Nature Communications on the left bottom, the administration of this seems to improve obesity and type 2 diabetes. So it's good to have more of these bacteria in the gut. So this is just another example of, we could talk about the Mediterranean diet. Maybe some years ago, this study was very popular in the sense that why is it that people living in the Mediterranean area seems to have better heart condition. They have lesser cardiovascular risk and diseases. And this has been, again, related to their microbiota, and then relates to the food that they take in the Mediterranean area. I'm sure you visited Mediterranean area. They're mostly like vegetables, fruits, and grapes and things.
And they walk everywhere.
Yeah, yes.
All everywhere.
So next is just as a conclusion before we get to your question. So now we are looking at not only bacteria at the higher level, phyla level, but we are looking down also at the genus level, which is lower level, for us to identify which bacteria would be most useful and which would be most harmful to the individual, especially people at old age. Yeah? So this is the finding from our study, and the late further is that we are doing sequencing of the stool samples that we get more, and then the study plan will be better. We hope to use machine learning also to come up with the best microbiota that, and then we're also doing metabolomics work of our microbiota. So these are the way forward, and there have been some development. I think with the study that we do here, it seems that it has attracted interest from potential collaborators from overseas also. We had our discussion yesterday evening, in fact. So there's something, hopefully, we're going to keep our fingers crossed. We are going to work and see the benefit of this collaboration. Looks like, well, first instance, yesterday's discussion was quite positive. So we're going to move forward with international collaboration on this subject. And this morning also I heard that they have the International Human Microbiome Project with big grants. We will try also to get attached to that program. Okay, so the final is gut feeling, intuition, or sign. I'm going to use this phrase. I hope people can go and think about it. Well, gut feelings is actually intuitionally signed. That's the answer.
Okay.
Both
Intuitionally science.
gut feeling is intuitionally
Yeah,
signed.
thank you very much. So allow me to add to this. Another what we call that. Yeah, gut feeling, intuition, intuitionally science.
Yes.
So how about the research and technological feeling, intuitionally science. Okay, related to that. the technological research feeling,
Yeah.
intuitionally science. Okay, related to that, allow me to ask you one question so that Datuk could share your experience with us and so on. Example, what I face sometimes, what I face when we our researchers sometimes when they want to start to do research based on their research proposal, they will proceed their research. It's okay, it's fine. We should do like that. And then for that, they of course go through with the literature review study and so on. So I feel that when our researcher wants to start their research, to run the equipment. Yeah, I feel that the knowledge on that is very important before they proceed. Not to study from what they get, the result they get, but they should already have in mind what they should get from that. You understand what I want to do?
Yeah.
When you are very strong in basic, in theory, sometimes I feel that when I give a presentation and get the feedback from the audience, sometimes I feel that the audience that asked me a question, they know very well on that. So I think that is important when our researcher wants to start the research. Before they start, they already know on that, but what they want to do is to confirm the theory they have learned. Is it okay or they can get better than the theory that they have learned? Could you share on that based on your experience? Or,
Yeah.
with your student or you yourself when you want to start your research?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. Basically, in your concept of research that, I mean, when we want to embark on something, we should already have some ideas of what we are going to get, right?
Yeah, when we want to run this instrument, for example. Yeah, of course, simulation is also the same thing. Actually, we have already in mind that what is the result that we're supposed to have.
Yeah.
And then we want beyond that. Optimize the instrument, optimize the process.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that competency or skill, able to kind of improve on your equipment, for example, or make do with whatever you have and design your own equipment that has skill. I think, well, maybe among the engineers, you all are trained or lucky to have that capacity. I think that is a very noble expertise that you can gather when you're doing research either as a postgraduate student or when you're already in the system, teaching system. You're right. I mean, the best researchers normally would understand the equipment that they're using, the philosophy, theory behind it, and improve on the equipment so that the results become more either visible or more presentable or more accurate, of course, all the time. So yes, if researchers, if you go into research, you can, I know not all have this capacity. You can improve your equipment, for example, technically. You can also improve, for example, if you're good in programming, you can improve the, how this equipment helps you to analyze or derive results. You can also do improvement in the statistical analysis. Lots of things that you can do, especially during research. Remember, it's also to improve your hand skills.
Not for example, when when we use the equipment instrument, get the result, and then after get result, not what is this, but why like
Yes.
this? Yeah,
Exactly.
you can come to that level.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you must know, I think sometimes during PhD, Viva, you will be asked on the mechanism of the equipment. If you're a student, for example. I mean, don't just use the equipment, understand what does the equipment do, how it does, the analysis. All now we have so many of our spectroscope, for example.
Yeah, in UiTM, in Institute of Science also,
Yeah.
we have so many equipment that is equivalent with other RU, research university also we have everything. So we hope that all researchers from UiTM and from other places also will contact our researcher in Institute of Science to start to do collaboration together with us. So, Dato', anything else you want to
I
add?
think
Oh,
I
before that, Dato', anything else Dato' wants to,
before we wrap up?
tinggal pesanan Dato' pada kami punya researcher.
Itulah, I think
Before kita habiskan.
I think research is always a very rewarding job that you can do, because in research you're always generating new knowledge, for sure. Whatever results that you get in your lab today will be the first time that information is being generated in this world. Imagine you are contributing. So bear with that, and like I said again, always try to think how to do things differently in a creative manner, because that's the only way we can move beyond our competitors, beyond our so-called current leaders. I think all of us in this country, all of us have that similar brain power, like anyone else. One thing is that we must be brave enough to go out and use the power for us to be different and to be, beneficial to the, especially to the population, to the people, and to the citizens of this country. So, always have that in mind, and inshallah, I think you will be successful in your career. So,
Yeah, thank you so much Dato'. For our researcher and lecturers and researchers, not to worry, because in order to go to the level 20, we should go step by step, one by one, and finally, inshallah, we are together to achieve to the higher level. So, Dr. Zul, I pass to you.
Thank you very much, Dato'. Thank you for your time, sharing your knowledge here, and sharing your wisdom and experiences. It's much appreciated. Terima kasih kepada semua. Thank you for the audience. I will then pass our session to our MC. Dipersilakan.
Thank you very much, Dato'.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, we have concluded the program today. We extend our sincere gratitude to today's speaker for his invaluable support, which contributed to the success of this event. On behalf of the organizing committee, we apologize for any inconveniences or hiccups that may have occurred during the seminar. We hope all participants have gained invaluable insights and benefited from this session. We also aspire the endeavor like this will propel us towards more extraordinary achievement and improved networking for a brighter future for humanity. Now we would like to invite Professor Rusop to present a token of appreciation to Yang Berbahagia Professor Dato' Dr. Abu Bakar. Please welcome.